is Nina G with the Comedy Time Capsule. Today is April 27th. We are like 40-something days into the quarantine, and today Dalia Malek is going to be joining me. Hello, Dalia. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. How are you?
Good, thanks. So let's go ahead and start. If you could introduce yourself and let us know about any plugs you might have.
I'm Dalia. I'm the host of a show I created called Interruption show that used to happen in Oakland and LA and San Diego, just like in physical buildings. And now it's online on Twitch. So it's just called Interruption show, and it's every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific time and every Saturday at 3 p.m. Pacific. And I get comedians from all over the world. It's basically like a showcase where I bring rotating co-hosts to interrupt comedians in the middle of their sets to like ask questions and dig for backstories about their material. So it's kind of like comedy meets choose your own adventure. And this is my puppy Cisco, and he's, I just want to explain why I keep looking down. So he's very wiggly and he's chewing on me.
Okay, is it a collie?
I was told that he was a poodle mix, but I don't see that. It doesn't seem true to me. I think he might be like a Chiweenie Australian cattle dog, something or other. He's a mutt.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's hope he's not a poodle. That's all.
Does this look like a poodle?
Doesn't look like a poodle at all. He's very cute, but no.
He's shedding like crazy, so I don't know if a poodle would.
Those are all the reasons why I don't have a dog. Okay. So tell me a little bit about how and why you got into stand-up comedy and how many years you've been doing it for.
I started in 2012, so I guess it's that 8 years ago. I don't know what year we're in currently, so and I started in London, England. I was doing my PhD there, and I hated life. It was cold and miserable and depressing, and my dissertation was very dry and boring, so I wanted to do something creative, and that's kind of how I got into like comedic writing, I guess. And then I wound up doing open mics and getting carried away, and now here I am still doing it for some reason.
Did you finish your PhD?
Yeah, I shouldn't have, but I did. I should have dropped out if I was smart.
And what is your PhD in?
It's in law, and it focuses on international human rights law and refugee law.
Okay. All right. Yeah, so that was
and it feels like an interview, like a job interview.
Well, I didn't know that about you. So like that is very interesting. And were you in London? Is that where you started?
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, no, you already said that, and I already wrote that down. That's why I retained it. Okay. So you've been doing comedy for 8 years, and you started there, and it seems like you've performed more all over the world than most of the comics I know. Can you talk a little bit about where you have performed and any differences that you've observed?
Doing comedy in England, most people work toward the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. That's like a goal that a lot of people have. So I've done that a few times. And so that's in Scotland. And then I've just gone to Ireland like for fun a couple times and performed there. And then I also did I've done a festival in Ireland just once, but that was really fun. Where I've performed, my family's from Egypt, so I've gone there and performed in Cairo as well. Like what other countries have I performed in? The country
United
Chicago.
States, I assume. Canada.
I've been to Canada. Yeah, I was in Toronto. They have a great scene over there. I think that's it. I think that's all I've been to that I can remember. I was supposed to do a show in Qatar, and I got food poisoning, so I didn't. So that's not on my comedy resume.
Are there like, and I want to say regional differences, but it's more like cultural differences between all these places? Because I know when I went to Ireland, they wouldn't clap for shit. Like, they were like, prove that you're funny. And so
Oh,
that
that's
was
so
very
funny.
interesting to me. So is there stuff like that you can kind of make observations about?
I think I saw that attitude more in England. And so going to Ireland from England was like a relief. Like they felt so much more supportive over there. Because in Britain, they don't really like it when we fuck around and we're like, hey, how you doing? Like, give it up for the troops or whatever. Like, they just want you to get right to the jokes. So it makes you really cut down your writing and just like get to the point, I guess. Um, but yeah, I think they're like, Americans will clap for anything. Like, so it makes it feel like American audiences are a lot more supportive. I don't know if they actually are, but it's true. We will clap for anything.
Yeah, no, I think so. Okay. And what would a typical week here look like for you before all of this?
Oh, before all this? I was just doing stand up. I wasn't doing a whole lot else. Like I am supposed to be writing an academic book right now. So I was spending time doing that before, like ironically before I had all this time to do it. But now I'm just having so much trouble focusing and so yeah, it was mainly just like doing that and stand up, and now now I don't know what I'm doing. Now I'm taking care of this puppy and watching time melt away.
And is the academic book anything about comedy?
No, it's just it's based on my dissertation, but it's a little broader. So it's about human rights in Africa and the accessibility of individual complaints to refugees. So I focused a lot on like refugee studies during my academic career. And then I have a lot of my work experience was with refugees too. So it's kind of like to do with forced migration and the African region. So it's just the main difference is that I'm taking a more comparative perspective. So I'm looking at like how it differs in Europe and the Americas.
Okay.
It
And
really does feel like a job interview. Will you hire me?
no, there is no money here. Um, but let me ask you this, because I have my doctorate in psychology.
Yeah.
And how does comedy? How has that influenced you, if at all, in your comedy, or in both in the business side or in the creation of the art form, whatever you think?
I think it's like the contrast between how dry it was working on that dissertation was what drove me into comedy. So I just like the fact that comedy is so different from academia. And I think it's, for me, like, I'm not that smart of a comedian. Like, my jokes are not like intelligent. They don't make you think. Like, they're very silly. I just do like dumb act outs and I yell a lot and I talk about my butt. So I think it's just like it's basically the opposite of what I would be doing in the academic world. So I think that's why I enjoy comedy. Like, I can be a lot sillier in that world.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. I've always felt that the one thing that has got me ready for the assholes in comedy is the assholes in academia, because there's actually less assholes in comedy than in academia. So
That is so true. That is so true.
okay, good. Good. I'm so glad I'm not the only one on that. Excellent.
Yeah, I was like, I had a few friends in my department, but for the most part, I didn't really want to be that social when I was doing my PhD, because the conversations were always just about like who got hired into what department. And I was like, this is all you guys care about.
It's so political all the time.
Yeah.
And like all the ass kiss, and that's why I can't ass kiss. I just can't. And that's all that it is. Oh, that's not all, but it's a lot of that. Okay. Yeah. Were you making a partial or full-time living doing comedy?
Living is a stretch. It was the only thing I was doing, but it wasn't like enough to live. So I was a barista for a while where they hired me to work full time, but then they only gave me part-time hours. So it kind of reminds me of when I was a barista. It's like, I made money, but not enough to live, but it was the only thing I was doing.
All right. Yeah, that's fair. Okay. No, and I think that's kind of the path in comedy. Where did you get?
I'm glad, because I'm like, what is the path? I don't know.
Yeah, I think you're on it.
Okay. I'm sitting in my bed. I don't know what anything is anymore.
No, and we're going to get to that. So where did you get most of your bookings from? Because we've already covered that you're all over the place, and it seems like you're just all over the place.
Yeah, I was, so when I met you, I was based in San Francisco. So I was doing like the independent shows there. And then I also had my own show in Oakland. And I was trying to transition down to LA, like up until now, like this period. And so my parents live down in Southern California. So I grew up down here. So I kind of was back and forth between NorCal and SoCal for a while, just kind of running my own shows and doing other people's shows. I don't really know where that was gonna go. And now I really don't know where that's gonna go. So it's all up in the air. By the way, can you see just how sweaty I am? Is it visible on camera?
No, not at all.
Okay, good.
No, your face isn't shiny, at least how it's being filmed right now.
I'll bring out the powder in a second.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, if you want a blot or something, feel free. We can always put it up.
I might.
All right. So what was your favorite and least favorite part about doing comedy?
My favorite part is the fact that I can just kind of impose my opinions on people.
It is fun, yeah.
That kind of sounds like I'm a dictator or something, but it's just really freeing that you can just go up and say what was on your mind that day, and a lot of people will listen. I think my least favorite part was just all the gatekeepery bullshit. When I was in England, I found the path to be a lot more straightforward, but I wasn't there for very long. I think I was only doing comedy for like 3.5 years there. So it felt like it made more sense. Like, I know what I need to do. I just need to do it. But here I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And I feel like everything happens very incrementally, and you kind of have to build your own path and figure it out. And I feel like it changes a lot, so you don't really know what you're supposed to be doing. So that irritates me.
Yeah. Okay, so now getting into it, like, how do you think, okay, so if we don't kind of know what the path to being a working comic is, no matter if you're good or if you suck or whatever, there seems to be no equal path. How do you think COVID and the quarantine is changing all of this?
Well, a lot of us have gone online, and I think there is this weird like silver lining where we can cut a lot of bullshit by just doing things ourselves. I don't know if that's ever going to result in money necessarily. I think it might for some people, but like, I don't have to worry about getting kicked out of a venue because my show went too long. Because I'm just sitting in bed on Twitch. So, so that's kind of a nice thing. But yeah. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, well, and it was a very vague question. It's this do-it-yourself thing.
Yeah.
That now, because in the US we really do have to make our own paths. This is that opportunity to make our own path. Is that what you're saying?
I think so. I think it's always been there, but now there's a lot of bullshit that we can cut out. Like, I don't need somebody's permission to do my own show. I don't need to worry about, like I said, a venue or like a booker putting me on or whatever, because it's just kind of like we're all doing our own thing right now.
And so what are you doing? you had said that you're doing the Interruption show, and I noticed that you're doing it twice a week, one at one time, one at another time. That's very interesting to me. Can you say a little more about that?
Yeah, I did that intentionally just to accommodate for a variety of time zones because I thought it was a really cool opportunity to get people who don't normally work together to work together. So I've been getting my friends who are in England and Ireland and people who are here to kind of interrupt each other and do the show together. So I think, yeah, we like people who I think would get along and should meet have met through that. So I think it's like a cool way to network. I hate saying that word, but that's kind of why I did that. And yeah, the first time I did it was just as a trial on Twitch, and it was super late for like my British and Irish friends. So yeah. I felt kind of bad about that. And I was like, I really do want to involve them. So that's why I did the Saturday at 3. And then they had daylight savings. So now it's still kind of late for them. But I was like, if my show starts any earlier than 3 p.m., I'm going to have to set an alarm. So I'm keeping it at 3. Sorry, England and Ireland.
Yeah, no, comics won't be up yet. So here.
Yeah.
And how has that been having like a international guest list on there? Are you finding that people from all over are joining, or is it just like the comic gets on and whoever watches? Who is the audience?
I think so. The audience is weird because it's Twitch and you don't need an account on Twitch to watch. So people who use Twitch, we can see them, but then there's these lurkers that we don't know about. So sometimes I'll get messages from people I know who are like, hey, I was watching, and like I didn't know that because they weren't logged into Twitch. But and I think it is just kind of
what the fuck Twitch is, because I don't understand it.
It's like a streaming service. I don't know what to call it. It's mostly for gamers and people who are a lot younger than me. I shouldn't be on there. I'm too old. But it's a way to, I guess, broadcast publicly whatever you're doing on your computer. I don't know if that's a good way of putting it. But people who use it and have accounts, there's like a little chat. And so those are the audience members, and you can see them. You can see their comments, but you can't see them. So it's not like Zoom. But yeah, it's kind of been whoever's trickled in because they heard about it from the comedians who are on. So it could be people from over there or people from here. I guess it just depends on who hears about it. I don't really know how promotion works anymore.
Yeah. And so that's kind of in this new world, it's hard to understand that, huh?
Yeah, I think we being comedians, like trying to figure out technology, and like some people did this streaming stuff before all this, but most of us didn't. So now we're like, how do cameras and microphones work? So
yeah, no, and that's it's a lot like the academic world, where people have been doing it for so long in person that adapting online has been rough.
Yeah.
So,
I used to have an office job where we used Zoom for just like meetings with people in our other offices and stuff. And it was so bizarre to me that Zoom got really popular for comedy, because I was like, you mean the website for like business meetings? Is that what people are using for comedy? It's pretty amazing.
When you've done stuff on Twitch and you've done it on Zoom, why did you choose Twitch over Zoom? And do you miss seeing faces when you're on Twitch?
I actually prefer Zoom, but I don't have any money. So I was like, I'm going to do whatever's free, and Twitch is free. I find that people on Twitch have been very nice, and I didn't expect that. I thought it was going to be a bunch of gamers who hate women. I mean, there have been like a few weirdos, but yeah. There have been like a few weirdos, but for the most part, it's been just like really lovely people who want you to do well, and they're supportive. So I have done somebody else's Zoom show where I could see people, but I couldn't hear them. And I don't know, I feel like I'm not really sure what my relationship is to the audience anymore. I was like, maybe they were never important because I'm like, I'm still having fun. So maybe I don't need their feedback. I don't know. Um,
Okay,
but
no, hold on. Wait, that right there. That's
did I
super
get too
important.
dictatorial again?
Yeah, no. Okay, so what's the relationship with the audience? So what is that difference then? Do you feel this is more performative, or do you feel that because your interruption show is very different, and I could see where it could work really well in a platform like this,
Yeah.
over a regular, like, hey guys, what's going on? Here's a comedy show. So
Right.
what do you see as that relationship, or is there a relationship, and is it just performative and you just kind of throw it out there and hope for the best?
It might be that because actually when got the idea for interruption show, it was because I did me and Dave's show and there was no audience. There was zero audience. It was like a nice day outside. It was lovely. And I think nobody wanted to like come into the back room of a bar. So we
Was
still,
this a show in Livermore?
yeah. And
Yeah.
so we still went ahead with it and just kind of workshopped material in front of each other. And people started kind of like somebody said something crazy in his set and I raised my hand and I was like, I don't know if this is rude, but like what happened after that? And then he answered me and it was like amazing. And I was like, this should be a show. We don't even need audience. We can be funny on our own. Um, but no, obviously like I still love making people laugh and I want to do that. But I'm not sure if I'm getting the same validation as I thought I needed. um, but I do also like doing crowd work and talking to people. I don't know. I'm very moody because sometimes I'm like, I don't even know if I care whether these people like me. um, but yeah, I saw this video of John Oliver doing what he normally does, but with no studio audience. And he was so funny and great. And I thought it was really inspiring. I was like, he's not being awkward. Like he doesn't care. He doesn't feel like he's bombing or think he's bombing. So I don't know. I think it kind of maybe gave me more confidence than I actually should have, but I was like, we can do
So
this.
it's a matter of selling it no matter what the audience, whether they're there, not there, looking at you, LOLing, whatever.
Yeah. And I think as someone who's bombed a lot, I feel like okay doing that. I'm like, I'm pretty comfortable bombing. It's fine.
Now, okay, so I think this is really important because if you are bombing, you just need to persist like you're not bombing.
Yeah.
And this is the thing that can help a comedian grow, is to deliver your shit no matter what, whether you see anyone comment or there's no one there, you just deliver it no matter what.
Yeah. I think people who are most uncomfortable with these online formats are probably those who are not that comfortable bombing. Because it's kind of like there's certain pauses, like you pause to give the audience a chance to laugh, but you don't need to pause to see if it's funny, like there's a difference. So when those pauses are there and then it's silent, it feels really weird. It feels really awkward when you're doing that online.
Yeah, especially when your internet is bad too. Like
Yeah.
I recently had a upgraded internet, but I think when I did your show, I didn't. So on top of
Oh,
everything, there is a delay too.
yeah. That's mortifying.
Yeah. Okay. So it's weird. Okay, that's great. Okay. So, what about in terms of the art form itself? We kind of talked about the relationship with whatever audience there is, but what about like developing new material? Have you been able to do any of that?
A
And how?
little bit, but not the way I was before all this. And I think that's just because of like depression and anxiety. I don't think it's anything else. It's just kind of like I feel uninspired. I'm sleeping a lot. And yeah, I think I've come up with more than I thought I did, but I haven't like deliberately sat down and written the way I used to.
Mm-hmm. And how did you used to develop new material?
Um, I had a couple things that I would do. Like usually I just try to look for whenever I have an emotional reaction to something that happens in life, I'll try to remember to write it down in the moment. But then I also try to sign myself up for open mics, which I really hate doing. And then I just like sign myself up against my own will. And I'm like, this is in my schedule. I have to go. I can't back out. And then I'll kind of get there a little early and go through my comedy notebook and try to force myself to come up with some kind of set. So that's helped me like develop the ideas that I've already had that are not like jokes yet. So usually just like cramming before an open mic is my process, or was my process.
Yeah. And how do you think all of this, like once we're out of this, what do you think comedy is going to look like in the US, but also in your experiences all over the world, how it might change there as well?
My fantasy, my hope, I don't know if this will actually happen, but I hope that because a lot of us have done this DIY stuff, I hope we continue to do that and create and kind of not tolerate as much bullshit as we do. Because I think a lot of us are willing to take really shady, shitty deals from gatekeepers just because we're trying to develop and progress, but it's like, we don't need them. So that's what I hope. I don't know if that'll happen.
Mm-hmm. And how do you think that would look?
What's that?
How do you think that would look if it was more DIY?
I hope it's just like, don't give shady people so much of a cut of like however much you're making from your show. I think comedians get shafted a lot financially in that area. Everyone wants to, I mean, obviously like everyone needs something, everyone involved, whether it's like a bar or a theater or whatever. But I do think that a lot of venues take too much, or they don't give the artists what they deserve. And I hope that will kind of like demand a little more from those people.
Do you think that happens in America equally to Ireland, England, and Egypt?
I'm not sure because I haven't produced shows over there that much. I do know that in England and Ireland, you're paid more than here. Like there's really no money here, but you can actually make some money, at least in Britain. I'm not too sure about Ireland actually, but I'm not sure about how it goes when you're trying to put on your own show and like get a deal with a venue. I've only really done shows, like my own show at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, and that was like pretty independent. I did the free Fringe, so you don't pay to use the venue, but you also don't sell tickets, but then you can take donations at the end. So it's kind of just based on the quality of your show and how good you are at begging people for money.
Oh, so it's just like doing a comedy show on Zoom or whatever platform online.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, but with a smaller audience.
Smaller audience, okay.
Yeah.
Depends how many are in your Zoom.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you think our sensibilities about humor are going to change as a country, as the world? Will we get darker? Will we not want to do any darkness? Like, what do you think it is?
I think it probably will be darker because this is a really dark time, and the number of people that this has affected is just staggering. So it's something we've all experienced together, and so many people have suffered because of it. So I do think that we will start to skew darker, but I also think people are going to be looking for more escapism and more, I hope more silliness, because I'm like, that's all I've got. I can't really give people like a comforting take on this, but.
Do you think that, and I'm drawing on your academic background now, I was going to say something really smart. I think I forgot. Do you think that having that common experience, because like I'm interviewing you and wherever you are, you're having a similar experience to me. I interviewed someone in India. They're having a similar experience to us. Like there's this worldwide experience that we're all having. How do you think that will be absorbed into comedy for good or for bad or indifferently?
I think kind of like everything, there's going to be a lot of bad art, just a lot of hack shit. But I also think that the people who are going to be good anyway will do some amazing things, and there's going to be amazing art coming from them too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I saw, I have to talk about this. Jay Leno was on Bill Maher a couple nights ago and talk about a hack. Like, and you know, he was one of the best comics ever and all of that stuff, but he used it as like an open mic for, you know, for like an old folks home. Like it was just baseline relatable stuff. Said nothing. Okay, anyway.
I do like the idea of using a TV show as an open mic. That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
That's a power.
No, it was his Zoom. It was his this, you know?
What if I just started crowbarring like new jokes into this conversation?
And so you mean it would be like every conversation outside a comedy club?
I just start looking at my phone. I'm like, hold on.
Yeah, scrolling. Okay. Okay. Do you think that the landscape of comedy, besides the do-it-yourself thing, but how it's performed and where it's performed is going to change? Because like I've been talking to others with like, are there going to have to be 6 feet tables in between everybody? Which imagine a comedy club spread out that way.
Everyone would bomb. That sounds fantastic. Let's do that. I don't know. I really think it depends on the place, because it seems like not everyone's taking it as seriously as others. So
if you want a good show, go to Georgia. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Is there anything? Let me ask you this one more thing. What, if anything, has the quarantine and COVID and all that stuff taught you about the art or business of comedy?
Well, I've been trying to watch these little gamers. Because like just last night, my friend sent me this link to Twitch, and his brother, it was like midnight, and his brother was watching a video game and 1,400 people were watching. And I was like, comedy is never going to be like this online. I don't know.
Oh. And that is where Dalia froze right there. So
I froze.
And so you just froze just as you said, comedy will never be like that online. So finish your thought, because it was the perfect cliffhanger.
Well, I just think I hope we can learn something about marketing ourselves. I mean, good comedy, people love comedy, they want it, but it's obviously really difficult to promote like independent shows and stuff. So I hope there's something to learn from this platform, I guess. I don't know if comedy will ever have the same appeal as a teenager playing a video game at midnight. But
Oh my God. Okay, well, I'm depressed now, so thank you.
Are you expecting to feel any other way after talking to me?
No, but that, because like it's my depressing thought has been that YouTubers will be the ones who will headline the punchline and Cobb's and the improv, because after all of this, they'll have 10 minutes of really strong material and then an hour of just eating shit. But they will have had like all of the like they will be the ones famous off of this. And so now you're telling me that it's going to be kids playing a video game, and we're going to have to open for kids playing a video game.
I mean, that was kind of happening before, and those people don't have shit on us. They just have a lot of fans, but they're not actually good. So I was telling somebody on my stream yesterday, like I went on record in an interview just before I did Edinburgh 2 years ago. And they asked me this question about like some YouTuber did something controversial on his channel. And they were asking me like what I thought of it. They were like, this YouTube comedian taught his girlfriend's dog to do like a Nazi salute or something. Do you think he committed a criminal offense? And I just like completely disregarded the question. And I was like, what on earth is a YouTube comedian? Are you talking about the website for music videos? And I was just like, I realized I sounded like 1,000 years old and I was being a dick on purpose. And I still feel that way, but I was like, there's no such thing as a YouTube comedian. But now here we all are like doing this YouTube comedy or online comedy. So it's kind of that they really showed me.
Thanks for saying that, because now we're all suffering. Well, is there anything else that you think I should have asked that I didn't, or anything else you wanted to talk about?
You should have asked me. No, I don't know. You should have asked me what I had for breakfast, Nina.
Well, what did you have for breakfast?
Well, I'm glad you asked. I had 2 breakfasts today. First, I had an English muffin with vegan cream cheese, and then just like an hour later, I got hungry again, and then I had hash browns and vegan sausage and vegan eggs, and I think I had like 3 coffees. I'm drinking a lot more caffeine these days and taking a lot more naps, and I'm still tired.
Well, the caffeine really helps the anxiety, so
it really does. I'm like, why do I feel so anxious? Maybe I should drink more of this bean juice.
Yeah, no, I know. I won't have caffeine past 4 because I'll just be totally anxious. Because you're anxious anyway. I was waking up at 3 a.m. every single night. It's like, oh, that's right. It's because of the apocalypse. So,
yeah.
You know, it's everything. So give us a plug one more time for your shows. And also if there is a Venmo that we might want to give you money for.
My Venmo is just my name, Dalia Malek, and my Interruption show is on Twitch on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Pacific time and Saturdays 3 p.m. Pacific time. You'll see more international acts on Saturdays. And I'm just Dalia on Twitter and Dalia Malek on Instagram. And maybe one on Facebook.
You said that you're just Dalia, like at just Dalia, or
just at Dalia.
Okay, got it. Okay, I'll look that up and I'll make sure that we do all that kind of stuff. So, okay, well, great. It was good seeing you. Thanks
Likewise.
for doing the show. It was lots of fun. So
Thanks
I hope
for having
everyone
me.
checks it out.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
Bye. Bye.